This is Equinoxe Television, live from my headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital. Well, I am back with Jonathan. Fire, destruction again and again recorded in the crisis-stricken northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon in the last suspected arson attack. The district hospital of Mamfe in the southwest region of the country was reduced to ashes by wild flames last night. This newscast said the Mamfe District Hospital in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. It is one of the institutions in which the latest suspected arson attack has been recorded within the context of the close to 6-year-long armed conflict going on in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. Last night, the hospital came under wild flames that consumed a great proportion of the buildings in that health facility. Derek Jato is monitoring the situation from the southwest regional chief Tamboya and now fires in details.
Mamfe went to bed in one piece and woke up shattered. The situation is desperate, and Ashu Robinson, the mayor of Mamfe Council, says the pains are too much.
Look at what we are going through in Mamfe. What are the population of Mamfe done to people? We are begging on you people that let us be. They come in their numbers.
The separatist fighters came in their numbers and well armed.
It means that they spread out themselves
and hit the town of Mamfe from multiple fronts, all at the same time.
Why the military go for lateral pit thinking at that side, and why they don't put another group for here for destroy this hospital? Exactly 1:45.
Sources say the attacks all took place at about 1:45 a.m. Thursday, June 9, 2022. Private homes, Mamfe Market, and Mamfe Hospital were their target, and the separatist fighters succeeded to leave the expected marks behind.
The mortuary is intact, but every other thing, the administrative unit, the theater.
The Mamfe Hospital has been burned down entirely, and the only section not touched was the mortuary, the management told Equinoxe Television. At press time, the authorities of the division were assessing the damages while calling on the population to collaborate in this fight against terror that has resurfaced again in Mamfe, chieftain of Manu Division in the southwest region of Cameroon.
In a similar story, more than 18 shops and several sewing machines worth hundreds of thousands of francs CFA have been consumed by wild flames in Fumban in the Nun Division, west region of the Republic of Cameroon. Details with Mala Glory.
6 sewing machines worth over 500,000 francs CFA have been set ablaze. Business owners are yet to recover from the shocking fire incident that ravaged more than 18 shops in the Fumban market, west region of the Republic. There were 6 different types of sewing machines. One could cost at least 250,000 francs CFA, while the other type cost between 80 and 100,000 francs, including customers' dresses and their materials. This business lady and her employers are now stranded. The locals say the fire incident has been caused by electric circuit. We had an electric circuit last night, which is what led to this kind of catastrophe. The inhabitants call on the authorities and the company in charge of distributing electricity to fix the damaged cables in that area to avoid future incidents.
Now we're going to talk about human bones trafficking, an illegal business that seems to be prospering despite the efforts of security and defense forces to put an end to that, and 2 suspected Human bones traffickers have been arrested in Susa in the Mongo Division littoral region of the Republic. They were among suspected bandits who were apprehended in that part of the country, and the rest was made by elements of the security and defense forces. And Abida has details.
These two individuals have been accused of human bone trafficking in Susa in the Mongo Division of the littoral region. Elements of the Susa police post discovered a bag full of dry bones of two human beings in the ceiling of their house.
Et ils ont constaté que 3 tombes étaient profanées. Ils ont saisi l'autorité administrative et nous sommes descendus sur les lieux. Après, on a refermé les tombes.
The police officer Moni Amandidier, who is head of the Susa Public Police Post and is part of the investigative team, explains that they first got a complaint from some Muslims who raised an alarm that 3 graves at their graveyard have been desecrated. As investigations opened during their night patrols, the elements of the Susa Police Post intercepted a car with zinc sheets on top. The occupants refused to stop and would later abandon their vehicle. Documents found in the car conducted the elements of the Susa Police Post to where the sheets were bought. Further investigation ordered by the procurer led to the arrest of 2 of the culprits. From there, their houses were searched. Human bones were found in the ceiling, though one of them is pleading not guilty. The skeletons have been seized, while the accused will be taken to court to answer charges.
Land quarrels continue provoking social tensions and sufferings among the population in the Republic of Cameroon. A case in point in this newscast is in Tiko in the Fako subdivision, southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, involving some individuals and the Cameroon Development Corporation. The CDC Director reports.
These few stocks survived the destruction and are today a reflection of what used to be on this land until 1 week ago that everything about the crops planted here changed. Victims say the Cameroon Development Corporation, the CDC workers, invaded their land and cleared all their crops. The farmers rallied and forcefully stopped them from advancing. Reports say tens of hectares were earmarked for the clearing mission that same day.
So they destroy and be called for attention.
Showing that document, these occupants of this land say they are wondering why the CDC invaded their land they duly acquired from the state.
Why? We don't know. They say they want to plant after the place have been allocated to us by the state. So I don't know why they are in this state land.
Something needs to be done, and the victims on their part are sending distress messages to the government from when they acquired the land to put order.
I bought this land. I saw the signature of the SDO there. The signature of the SDO of Bako Division. Duly signed.
The family members of 85-year-old Nambo Christina, one of the victims, revealed to Equinoxe television that they are paying more price. From where they told her that her crops were destroyed, she did not believe, and even when we brought her here to see things for herself, but every now and then she kept telling me that the corn must have been ready by now and that we should go for the harvest.
You know, the believer, so I don't carry come for the plot. After which I go back for us. The next day, she tell me against this, we won't go harvest corn.
Psychologically, my grandmother is not stable.
Because, you know, they're fine. Because since if I get stroke, I be a high blood patient, so since that time I be unstable.
Because her crops, the lone source of her livelihood, have been destroyed. Now struggling to face the reality, Mami Nambo Christina wish she could pick something back home, but her children and grandchildren are pleading with her to face the truth, for everything have been destroyed. At the divisional officer's office for Tiko subdivision, our attempt to meet the divisional officer were abortive. Equinoxe television will later be sent an invitation note by the said divisional officer for Tiko subdivision to attend a meeting on the same subject. While at the CDC office in Tiko, this reporter was briefed that there is no official statement concerning the situation. but that all the parties are aware of the stakes.
Another issue raising concerns, worries, anger, frustration, and disappointment is the problem of bad roads in the Republic of Cameroon. From the big cities to the hinterlands, the problem is hindering the smooth circulation of vehicles and movement of persons from one point to the other. And we're taking you in this newscast to Emombo 1 and 2 neighborhoods in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Westman Chikangebo is going to show us the deplorable state of the main road running through that municipality or that part of the nation's political capital, connecting it with the central town. His report.
A road in the country's political capital in Yaoundé. This is one of the most used stretch of road in the nation's political capital that has been abandoned. The road is separating Emombo 1 and 2 neighborhood. During dry season as well as rainy season, taking this stretch of road, which is bad, is a veritable nightmare. There is no need for us to tell you, because you can also see for yourself that it's painful for us having such a road in the heart of the city. It has been like this for several years now. It's really sad because we are always visiting the mechanic workshop each time. As a result of the state of the road, many drivers are afraid using it. I accept coming this way because I've been hired. Without that, I will never come up this way. This zone is even better. If Mimboman, a neighboring quarter, just benefited from a rehabilitated road, the Emombo stretch of road was completely forgotten. A young man was passing while I was washing my carpet. He slipped off and injured himself. How can we go ahead with such type of road? It's not normal for us to have such roads, and they say we are going to emerge. Passing through this stretch of road, one must be courageous, because when it rains, it is difficult to use the road. When it rains, no way on foot. With cars, it's worst. Cars pass and throw water on people. I'm a Nigerian who loves Cameroon, but with this poor road, my clients don't come to buy. It's really disturbing. The government should do something. Talks about the possible rehabilitation of the road have been discussed in higher places, but till date, it's not realistic. The tire is to block cars from throwing dirt on my stuffs. The Emombo stretch of road is amongst the worst stretch of roads linking the central town with just 5 minutes drive. The dream of everyone in this neighborhood is to see that government finally rehabilitates this road, which is helping many other persons.
Prices of basic consumer goods continue increasing in the Republic of Cameroon, and this is further complicating the already difficult living conditions and low living standards of a good chunk of the population, including the poor and low-income earners living below the poverty line. And a reporter, Annabella, went to the market and says purchasing palm oil and sugar has become an uphill task, demanding huge sums of money or significant amount of money. Details in this report.
Recently in Cameroon, it has been an uphill task for housewives and family heads to put food on the table. Prices of foodstuff and other basic commodities have skyrocketed at marketplaces. One commodity whose price has drastically increased is palm oil. Palm oil, which is used in almost every traditional delicacy in Cameroon, is now sold at 1,200 francs a litre, up from 900 francs some months back. This consumer, Ramaut Menge, has been looking for where to get palm oil at a cheaper price. I'm very surprised. At first, we used to buy a liter of palm oil for 850 francs, but now we purchase it for 1,000 francs, and even more. I would then prefer my wife to cook with palm nuts. Sugar is another commodity whose price has witnessed a sharp increase. Imported sugar that used to sell at 27,500 francs a bag now sells at 33,000 francs CFA. These merchants attempt some reasons for the hike. As you can see, the price of half a liter of oil is 400 francs because we buy 20 liters for 15,500 francs. So if we don't sell at 500 francs, we won't make any profit. Last year, we bought these for 12,000 francs for a jug of 20 liters, but now the jug is 15,000 francs. We haven't even arrived September to say the rains have destroyed palm nuts. As many share diverse opinions on the increase in prices, they say the spring up of the war in Ukraine has greatly affected prices of basic commodities across the world, Cameroon inclusive. The Minister for Commerce, Luke Magron Barga Atangana, has in several occasions called for the homologation of prices, which is yet to be implemented.
French President Emmanuel Macron has been urged to convene an extraordinary European Union African Union summit on the economic impact of Russia's invasion of Ukraine on the African continent. In an open letter, the president of the Central African Association of Employers said the war has caused 38 million francs CFA collateral damage in Africa. For me, Armstrong Sander has more.
In his capacity as the president of the Union of Central Africa Employers, UNIPES, vice president of the Central Africa Alliance of Francophone Employers, president of the Cameroon Employers Association, GICAM, Celestin Tawamba told French President Emmanuel Macron that Africa is suffering the most from the war in Ukraine and Macron must convene an extraordinary European Union Africa Union summit to discuss. The GICAM president recalled that the health crisis linked to the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a new recession in African economies and undermined the hard-won progress in reducing poverty on the African continent. With a collapse in the tourism and a sharp fall in exports, especially those of the hydrocarbons, the health pandemic has pushed millions of people into extreme poverty, creating as many poor people and individuals threatened by famine. He says the war in Ukraine has created 38 million collateral victims on the African continent. This war is not Africa's war, the president emphasized. In one of the paragraphs, he says Africa is the continent that suffers the most significant collateral damage in human, social and economic terms. This suffering, according to him, is more as most of the African countries, for lack of shock absorbers or mechanism to lessen the induced effort of the shock as is done elsewhere, only benefits from a minimal room for maneuvers, forced to suffer without being able to react. The continent, according to him, has thus been reduced to making people accept the unacceptable. This, according to him, is where the shoe pinches the most.
For me, Armstrong Sander reporting there. Nigerian authorities say they suspect the militant group Islamic State West Africa Province ISWAP carried out the deadly attack at the church in Owo in Ondo State last Sunday. 40 people were killed and dozens more wounded. Nigeria's Interior Minister Rolf Arebesola made the announcement while briefing journalists after a Security Council meeting chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Palace in Abuja. It is the first time Nigerian authorities are blaming any group for the attack. If confirmed, it will be the first attack by the IS-linked militants in southern Nigeria, signifying the extension of its violence. And now in sports, the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon have won their first 2023 African Nations Cup qualification game. They defeated Burundi 1-0 in the Benjamin Kappa Stadium in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania earlier today. The lone goal of the encounter was scored by Carl Tokwe Kambi at the 31st minute of play from a free kick and resulting from a fault on the Lions captain Vincent Abubakar, and the match counts for day 2 of the qualifications for the AFCON 2023 in Ivory Coast. And that's it for the first part of this newscast. Up next, Talking Point. Unfortunately, due to some technical challenges, we're not going to have Talking Point today, and of course we will be bringing to you more news at 8 p.m. In the meantime, Equinoxe will be coming up in a little both half an hour. Stay with us.
Equinoxe Télévision, au-delà de l'image, nous rendons compte.
7 conseils pour